It would be impossible for me to start this story without detailing why I started listening to Nanahira in the first place, so let's take a trip back to 2018. I started playing Beat Saber back in July 2018. It was my first rhythm game, and I quickly became absolutely addicted to it. After the first month or so, I was playing entirely custom songs, which was quite the adjustment for me. Rhythm game music is really off-putting for someone who isn't used to it. One of the artists I hated the most was Nanahira. She has this really high-pitched, anime girl-esque voice that was immensely cringeworthy to me. To make matters worse, the instrumentals for many of her songs ranked in the game were just as annoying as the vocals were to me at the time. I immediately disregarded her as a terrible artist worth avoiding at all costs. Fast forward to September 2020. I had quit Beat Saber several months prior due to hand injury, and I was starting to get into Osu as a replacement. I downloaded some custom songs from artists I recognized from Beat Saber, and one of those was T-Pazolite. I had grown to love his chaotic, vocal sample-driven take on J-Core during my time playing Beat Saber. One song of his that I downloaded was Party in the Hollowwood, featuring none other than Nanahira. I instantly fell in love with the song. It went way harder than it had any right to. And unbelievably to me at the time, I actually liked the vocals. This sent me down a rabbit hole I would never recover from. I started by listening to quite literally the entire T-Pazolite discography. I found myself enjoying the tracks featuring Nanahira every single time they came out, so it wasn't long before I dove into her discography as well. Unfortunately, I have now listened to not one, not two, but 21 Nanahira albums, and I am definitely a certified fan. By 2021, my friends all knew that I was listening to Nanahira religiously, and it became sort of a joke among us because of how ridiculous it was that I liked her music so much. After all, I didn't and still don't watch anime, and I didn't like any music with singers even slightly like her. June 4th, 2021, a fateful day. My friend Campingo decided to look up Nanahira Discord server on Google, and lo and behold, there actually was one. He joined and was instantly met by a complete fucking mess. Everyone on there was hilarious to watch for all the wrong reasons. Whether it was complete inability to form a sentence, deranged discussion topics, or at times clinical mental insanity, this was easily the most absurd Discord server I had ever been a part of. There are too many examples of absurd messages from that time to count. At times, they were ludicrously funny in sort of a painful way. Here are some of my favorites, taken only from the first month after I joined. There is absolutely no shortage of content. The Nanahira server became one of our biggest sources of constant comedy. It got to the point where we made a channel in a server I was running at the time, solely to post screenshots from there. Unfortunately, I can't show much of that to you, because the entire server has since been deleted for reasons that will become extremely relevant to the story. No spoilers though. Regardless, I feel like some of the funniest screenshots we took got lost to time after that server was deleted. Our relationship with the server was both give and take. We often posted messages in there ourselves, never taking it seriously of course. Possibly the most legendary moment of ours from this era was creating a GIF about Nanahira's famous song Shua Shua Parfait, which you can see on screen now. Many members of the server did not take kindly to us sending our GIFs. Here's a few examples of this. This one was so fucking funny that it became a copy pasta not just among my friends and I, but also with actual Nanahira server members. Other members were making fun of this poster, which, with a lot of the shit he posted, was completely deserved. However, we found an unlikely ally and a moderator in training from Estonia, who I will be referring to from here on out as just Estonia. She found some of the insane members of the server just as crazy as we did, and found our gifts to be quite funny. She began conversing with some of us on the server, and even sent some of us friend requests so we could communicate in DMs. She genuinely seemed like a pretty cool person, even if she wasn't any more immune to the insane posting pervasive on this server. I'm keeping all usernames blurred in this video, but just know some of the messages shown in the previous chapter came from her. I don't remember exactly how, but Estonia became aware of the Discord server I owned and asked for an invite. Despite the fact that we spent so much time making fun of her fellow server members, and the server was dominated with inside jokes that only my friends would get, she quickly became one of the most active members on there. She frequently contributed to our counting chat where everyone posts numbers sequentially, and occasionally contributed to our Nanahira server archive. It was really surprising, and it increased our trust towards her a lot. My friends and I have had a group chat for 4 years. For the last year or so, we have had 8 spots permanently filled and just switched random people into the other 2 spots. It came time again that we wanted to switch out one of those constantly switching spots. The idea was posited that we add Estonia, and we all thought that was a funny idea. However, it wasn't our only possible option, so I tried a random spinner to help us decide. It told us not to add her, but we ignored it. What could go wrong? A lot. A lot could go wrong. I was already mildly suspicious of the user based on some of the more questionable stuff she had posted on the Nanahira server, but I went against my instinct and added her anyway. Things started getting weird when one of the first things she posted was admitting to having a horrible smoking addiction at the ripe age of 14. We knew that she had somewhat of a troubled life based on the tidbits of her story that she had sent, and it seemed like this was just one of many hurdles she had to cross. I just wanted to be understanding because I couldn't really imagine what she was going through. We were able to move to some more normal conversation for a while until she dropped a very interesting bit of information. She revealed to us that she was trans, expecting to be kicked for it. I guess there must be a lot of transphobia on the online spaces she had inhabited, which really sucks. We let her know that we were perfectly accepting of that. Unfortunately, I believe this acceptance led her to completely destroy any boundaries she had on what she was willing to share with us. The first strange thing she shared was the exact name of her school, which we could find on Google Maps. Next, she told us she was able to use an IP grabber on the guy who posted the copy pasta message mentioned earlier. I guess she believed that we would like to hear that she could get some sort of revenge on this guy, as he had shown us quite a lot of irrational anger in the past. But really all this did was scare us. This wasn't really a power we wanted anyone in a chat we constantly used to have. None of this could have prepared us for what she did next, however. She started randomly confessing to a bunch of crimes. She started with the worst of them by posting a video of herself destroying a car window, which she apparently got charged for. She also said she received 12 charges for smoking, but hey, at least she didn't get charged for the 125 bottles of cider that she stole. We were really starting to get worried by this point and used a separate chat to discuss what we should do about this situation. After all, we didn't want connections to her in case the Estonian police came about. We wanted to cut our ties with her quickly because we felt bad about the transphobia she had experienced, and we didn't want her to think that we were doing it for similar reasons. Of course, the first move was removing her from the chat, but after this I made a pretty egregious mistake. I left the Nanahira server, which alerted her to what we were doing. After I made this mistake, we didn't hesitate to completely cut our ties to her. We all left the Nanahira server and unfriended her and everyone else we had met on there. But the most drastic action we took was deleting my server, which contained the Nanahira server archive. It was a tragic loss, but we wanted to escape the awkward situation that could have arisen as fast as possible. For over 6 months, our adventures in the Nanahira server had come to a close, but eventually I knew it was time to return. April 11th, 2022 was the day I chose, and once again some of my friends followed me. We got a warm welcome back from another mod we had previously met named Ungrave. I've been making an effort to censor Nanahira server members' usernames thus far, but Ungrave will become so integral to the story that I have to mention him by name. The server was no less ridiculous than it was when we had left. Even though there was a new crop of members, they were just as insane as those we had known and loved in 2021. I'm bringing back Meatball Parade for another montage of crazy shit they posted, this time exclusive to 2022. Almost in response to their absurdity, we quickly restarted our goofy posts. Sometimes it was complete nonsense, sometimes it was gift spam, sometimes it was copy pastas. Nothing too much different from what we had done in the past. However, I thought it would be funny to personally stay away from most of that and try to engage some of the users in conversation. I made sure not to do it too often though, I didn't want the insanity to rub off on me. Campingo took a completely different approach and essentially tried to speedrun getting banned. He broke the rules once, messaged Ungrave to get unbanned, then proceeded to break the rules again. However, he didn't really do anything worse than post stupid gifs and make deranged responses to regular members. This will be important later. Interestingly enough, me and Campingo still managed to have a presence on the Nanahira server during our previous absence. We make a series called Haha Drakes, which are edits of random songs, often from Nanahira, over completely unrelated music videos or concert footage. Nanahira server members had discovered Haha Drakes on both of our channels while we were gone, but no one was particularly interested in them. That changed, however, when a member discovered a Nanahira sheet music arrangement I did, and proceeded to check out a bunch of my Haha Drakes. He seemed to be liking them quite a bit, and I honestly felt kind of proud. If you're watching this video, which I wouldn't be surprised if you are, thanks. A few of us also joined the official Nanahira Discord Minecraft server, which unfortunately was pretty lame. Like, come on, I wanted to see some crazy Nanahira builds, but I didn't get anything more than an average server that I could have done with my friends. Ungrave was already an admin on the Nanahira server the first time we had joined, and we were already dealing with him back then. We even made a couple more of our infamous gifs about him. A few days after rejoining the server, I made light mention of the Estonia incident, but made it clear that I didn't plan on discussing it. As I should have known, this led people to become curious about it, so I told them that if they sent me a DM, I'd tell them the story. One of these people was Ungrave, who knew exactly who I was talking about despite me not mentioning her username. He told me the main account Estonia used had since been abandoned. However, her alt was still active and remained in the Nanahira server, so he assured me that he would kick it. After all, he had received the crazy video of her destroying the car window as well, and probably felt the same way about her that me and my friends did. I felt pretty safe remaining on the Nanahira server after this, and very much trusted Ungrave to do the right thing. Several days later, we had an empty spot in our group chat once again. I thought it would be funny to add Ungrave as a throwback to the Estonia incident. However, I felt a lot safer about this because Ungrave had proven himself to be one of the most level-headed members of the server. The night we added him was absolutely hilarious. He said he was at work and not reading messages, so my friends took this as an opportunity to ask him a bunch of ridiculous questions, thinking he would never see them. After this, I gave Campingo the idea to act like he knew Ungrave in real life. This gave rise to a surreal event which we call the Schizo incident because by the end, Campingo felt like he was actually living in this elaborate story he created. Here's a montage of this schizo incident. Once Ungrave finished work, he let us know that he was actually able to see the occasional notifications from our chat, and had over 1,000 Discord pings from us alone. This was unfortunate, as it meant not only could he see the schizo incident, but he could also see some of the bizarre questions we had asked him in the beginning. Regardless, he seemed to find it funny and actually stayed in the chat. Usually when we added random people off my friends list into the chat, they'd be gone within the hour. Eventually we all got kind of sick of having the spot permanently taken up by Ungrave, because we wanted to add some of our other school friends back in. So we invented the tradition of Ungrave o'clock, where we'd add him for 30 minutes at 9 PM sharp, every single day. We did it over and over and over again. As should be expected by now, I made a new GIF to commemorate the occasion, featuring a clip from Nanahira's worst music video. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. We started getting caught up in real-life stuff at the time Ungrave o'clock was supposed to happen, shifting the time away from when it was supposed to happen. The final nail in the coffin was a new group chat owner who had no interest in keeping the tradition alive, and just let Ungrave stay in the chat permanently once again. We didn't know it yet, but these would be our final days with Ungrave, for reasons you will soon see. Campingo wanted to rejoin the Nanahira server so he could experience its absurdity as the rest of us could. He went all in with his attempts to rejoin, spending an entire hour begging Ungrave. It didn't even feel like he was joking by the end, so of course we had to let him know he was taking a massive L. Rejected by a Nanahira server moderator, how much more sad does it get? Unfortunately, it soon wouldn't matter that he was gone. On May 11th, I received a horrifying DM from one of my friends, showing that Estonia had rejoined. I immediately left and quickly told my friends that they should all follow suit, which most of them did. This left one question: why did a literal criminal not get permanently banned, but Campingo did? After all, I mentioned earlier that the worst things Campingo did was post shitty gifs and replies. We complained and Ungrave responded. He said that the decision was up to the other mods, who only wanted to kick Estonia instead of ban her. Even though he had ban power, he was unwilling to use it so that he could appease the other mods. Seeing that we all had left the Nanahira server, he instantly left our group chat as well. Our entire view of Ungrave changed. From then on, we only referred to him as L-Grave. Once again, our adventures on the Nanahira server have come to a close, but this isn't the last they'll be seeing of us. You can see even Ungrave knows this in his final messages. See you guys in a year or something. We threw around the idea of adding Ungrave back into the chat in exactly a year as our big return, but honestly I don't know if I'm going to wait that long. As I previously said, it's like Reddit. You don't want to look at it, but it pulls you back anyway. Or it's a car crash but with pedophiles instead of cars. Either way you want to look at it, I kind of miss seeing their insanity every day. There was something oddly charming about it, and it was always hilarious.
No pen, no pad. Move around the city like a nomad. Gotta be on point like a gnome hat. Had to leave the place where I'm known at. Now nigga never wanna go back. Broke niggas ask where the dough at. Old niggas ask where the hoes at.